The movie opens on the icy planet of Niflheim in the year 2054. Mickey 17 wakes up in a ditch, quickly realizing that both his communications and thermal systems are broken. As he assesses his situation, he spots a rescue ship nearby and calls out for help. A man named Timo approaches, seemingly ready to assist. However, just as Timo is about to intervene, he hesitates and tells Mickey that he will only take his flamethrower, not him, because the ship will simply print a new copy of Mickey if he dies. With that, Timo leaves. Left alone, Mickey notices eerie creatures watching him from the distance, and comes to a chilling realization: he is about to die. The next day, Mickey's voiceover explains the process behind his existence. Each time he dies, his body is reprinted and his consciousness stored in a device called a brick that's implanted into the new version of himself. He describes how this technology violates every law on Earth, which is why it's only used in outer space where expendables like him are created for high-risk missions. As part of this process, scientists conduct various experiments on him, exposing him to lethal levels of radiation outside the ship. When he inevitably dies, they simply print a new version of him. Mickey then recounts how he ended up in this situation. His troubles began when a friend convinced him to invest borrowed money into a failing company. They were caught and brought before the ruthless Darius Blank, a psychopathic business tycoon. Desperate to escape, Mickey decided to leave Earth and applied for an expedition to help colonize an ice planet, unaware of what being an expendable truly meant. He was accepted immediately, and only afterward learned about the printing process and how his memories would be uploaded into a brick. Aboard the spaceship, the crew gathers for lunch when a man named Kenneth Marshall introduces himself. As Mickey meets the crew, he crosses paths with Nasha. Marshall announces food rationing and bans any sexual activity during the trip, a rule Mickey and Nasha disregard as they continue their relationship in secret. Throughout the journey, Mickey dies and is printed multiple times while he and Nasha frequently find themselves in trouble. The movie continues as one day a girl named Kai approaches Mickey for a conversation, but Nasha, overcome with jealousy, interrupts by kissing him. Months pass and the crew finally arrives at the ice planet. As part of an initial test, Mickey is sent outside to analyze the atmosphere for any unknown viruses. The experiment reveals the presence of a lethal airborne pathogen, and Mickey succumbs to the infection. Soon after, he is printed again. Mickey 13, 14, 15 and 16 are each used as test subjects in the mission to develop a cure. After numerous failed attempts and countless deaths, the team finally succeeds in creating a vaccine for the virus. As the crew begins exploring the ice planet, they come across an alien species in a deep trench. In their attempt to flee, one of the crew members is killed. Back on the ship, Marshall furiously reprimands Mickey, insisting that as an expendable, he should have been the one to die instead. As punishment, Mickey is forced to work 14-hour shifts with his food rations cut in half until he retrieves a sample of the creatures they encountered. One day while eating his meal at work, Mickey 17 suddenly loses his footing and falls into a trench. The scene mirrors the beginning of the movie, but this time when he wakes up, he realizes he is still alive. To his shock, the alien species has spared him. Instead of attacking, they help him out of the trench before disappearing into the icy landscape. As he regains his bearings, Mickey spots a nearby vehicle and boards it. He changes his clothes, returns to his quarters and prepares to rest, only to discover that a new version of himself, Mickey 18, has already been printed under the assumption that he was dead. A chilling realization dawns on Mickey 17: the crew has broken protocol. Multiple versions of him should never exist at the same time. Before he can act, Mickey 18 suddenly strikes him with a dumbbell, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, in a past scene on Earth, the R&D department behind the printing machine is questioned about whether there are safeguards to prevent the technology from being abused. Concerns arise over the potential dangers of uncontrolled replication. Mickey recounts the story of one of the masterminds behind the technology, a man named Minova, a brilliant but deranged scientist. When police raided Minova's house, they discovered not one but two identical versions of him. However, unbeknownst to them, a third Minova was still at large, using the technology to commit murders. Eventually, all three versions were captured, leading to the passage of a strict law. No duplicates were ever to exist at the same time. Back on the ship, Mickey 18 drags an unconscious Mickey 17 inside a trash can, preparing to dispose of him. However, Mickey 17 is already awake, silently analyzing the personalities of his past iterations. As Mickey 18 moves to dump him into the broiler, Mickey 17 suddenly springs into action, attempting to strike him with a dumbbell. Mickey 18 swiftly counters, overpowering him and forcing him closer to the edge of the broiler. Desperate, Mickey 17 tries to negotiate, but Mickey 18 refuses to listen. Just as he's about to finish the job, someone approaches, forcing Mickey 18 to quickly pull Mickey 17 away to avoid suspicion. Meanwhile, Teo arrives and begins selling drugs to the crew. Mickey 18, noticing this, confronts Timo and aggressively shoves him toward the broiler. Mickey 17 rushes to intervene but is unable to stop him. As the tension escalates, Mickey 18 grabs a metal rod and attempts to force Timo into the broiler as well. Before he can succeed, Nasha and another crew member arrive just in time, breaking up the fight. Mickey 18 and Nasha leave together, heading to her quarters. As Mickey 17 prepares to follow them, a crew member informs him that he's been invited to a dinner party with Marshall. At the dinner, Mickey 17 finds himself unable to stop devouring the food after weeks of harsh rations. To his surprise, Marshall offers an apology for the way he has treated him. As the evening continues, Kai arrives and joins the gathering. During the dinner party, Marshall praises Kai for her exceptional intelligence, revealing his true intentions. He wants her to become a baby machine to ensure the survival of the colony. Disgusted, Kai immediately shuts him down and shifts the focus to honoring the fallen soldiers, asking everyone to join in prayer. As the crew bows their heads, Mickey 17 suddenly begins vomiting uncontrollably. Alarmed, Marshall calls for the scientists, who explain it's a side effect of a growth hormone they secretly administered to him. They give him a painkiller, but it fails to work. As the pain escalates and Mickey 17 starts screaming in agony, frustrated Marshall draws his gun, preparing to put him down. Before he can pull the trigger, Kai intervenes, stopping him and escorting Mickey 17 back to her room. In her quarters, Kai offers Mickey 17 some tea she brought from Earth. As the two grow closer and are about to get intimate, Mickey suddenly thinks of Nasha and pulls away, deciding to return to his room. As he leaves, Nasha notices them together and bursts into laughter, playfully writing the numbers 17 and 18 on their respective bodies. Mickey 17 quickly realizes that Nasha and the others are high on drugs. As he and Nasha begin making out, Kai unexpectedly walks in and is horrified to see two Mickeys standing before her. She tries to rush out to report the anomaly, but Nasha stops her. Seizing the moment, Kai makes a bold proposition. She suggests that Nasha keep Mickey 18 while she takes Mickey 17 for herself. Enraged, Nasha, still under the influence, becomes aggressive. Meanwhile, Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 erupt into a heated argument. The confrontation spirals out of control when Mickey 18, blinded by rage, grabs a gun and storms off toward Marshall, intent on killing him. At that moment, Marshall is delivering a speech about a mysterious rock formation when one of the crew members suddenly spots a creature moving within the rock. Chaos erupts as Mickey 18 aims his gun at Marshall, ready to pull the trigger. Before he can shoot, another crew member tackles him, causing further panic. As the crew scrambles to capture the alien creature, Marshall spots Mickey 17 and orders him to join the hunt. While the commotion unfolds, Mickey 18 seizes another opportunity to assassinate Marshall. But before he can act, Marshall finally notices the impossible: two Mickeys. Just as the tension seems to settle, another creature suddenly emerges from the damaged rock and leaps onto Marshall. Panicked, he immediately gives the order to kill it, and the crew opens fire, gunning it down. With the crisis momentarily resolved, Marshall turns his attention back to the duplicates. Realizing the violation of protocol, he issues a stern command. Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 are to be arrested immediately and locked away in the ship's jail. In their cell, Mickey 17 and Nasha reflect on everything that has happened. They come to a startling realization. The native creatures were the ones who saved Mickey 17 from the trench. Their thoughts are interrupted when Teo arrives, revealing that he has been sent by Darius Blank with a brutal mission. He must record a video of Mickey's execution. However, before he can act, Mickey 18 and Nasha fight back, overpowering Teo and his accomplice. They manage to escape the prison, but their freedom is short-lived. Security quickly captures them and they are sentenced to execution. As they are being escorted to their fate, they notice something alarming: a massive gathering of the native creatures surrounding the ship. One of the crew members points out that ever since the baby creature was captured, it has been crying non-stop. Meanwhile, inside the ship, Marshall's wife heartlessly amputates the creature's tail and prepares a soup from it. Marshall arrives and, in an effort to keep order, marks Mickey 18 to distinguish him from Mickey 17. Taking his control further, he deletes Mickey's memories from the brick, erasing vital parts of his past. Nasha steps forward, fiercely defending Mickey 18, arguing that he was the one who first spotted the second creature. But Marshall cuts her off, shifting focus to preparing for war. Nasha refuses to back down. She insists that the native creatures don't want war, they will only fight if provoked. One of the scientists proposes an alternative. They could try to communicate with the creatures using a translator. Marshall scoffs at the idea, dismissing it outright. But just then, the captive creature humiliates him in front of the crew, pushing his patience to the limit. Enraged, he lashes out, arguing with Nasha. She refuses to back down, shutting him down completely. Cornered and desperate to assert his dominance, Marshall makes a cruel decision. He orders the creature to be tied up and thrown into the broiler. As it plummets, Nasha reacts instinctively, catching it with her mouth in a last-ditch effort to save it. Meanwhile, one of the crew members discreetly begins recording the entire scene, capturing undeniable evidence of Marshall's brutality. Marshall, determined to wipe out the native creatures, orders his crew to deploy a highly poisonous gas to exterminate them. His wife, always one for cruelty, suggests turning it into a twisted game. Whoever brings back 100 creature tails survives, while the loser dies. Without hesitation, they shove Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 off the ramp and into the frozen wilderness. Before they leave, a sympathetic scientist discreetly hands Mickey 17 a prototype translator. As they venture deeper into the planet's terrain, they eventually arrive at the stronghold of the native creatures and come face to face with their leader. Using the translator, Mickey 17 thanks the leader for saving him earlier and urgently warns him that the humans plan to release deadly gas. The leader, however, has his own question. Why did they kill one of their own, a creature named Luco? Mickey 18, ever the cynic, asks what would happen if they killed more of the native children. The leader's response is chilling. If the humans take another young life, the creatures will ensure the complete extinction of every human on the planet. As he speaks, he emits a powerful high-frequency scream, one so intense it could kill humans instantly. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Mickey 17 signals that they need to bring the captured baby back to the natives. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Marshall's advisor argues that Marshall should be the one speaking with the native leader, not Mickey 17. Marshall, always eager to assert control, leaves to confront the situation, temporarily handing over command to his wife. At the negotiation site, the native leader delivers a firm ultimatum. One of the two Mickeys must die as a form of retribution. Back on the ship, Nasha, realizing time is running out, grabs Marshall's wife by the neck and demands that the baby be returned to its people. When she finally releases her, Marshall's wife retaliates, grabbing a knife and slashing the commander's hand. In the struggle, the rope holding the baby nearly slips loose, but Nasha manages to grab it just in time and escapes with the infant. As tensions escalate, both the native leader and Marshall prepare for war. Just before the battle erupts, Nasha arrives, presenting the baby as a peace offering. The leader, seeing his child returned, holds back his forces. Understanding that only one of the duplicates can be allowed to live, Mickey 18 willingly sacrifices himself. 6 months later at a meeting, Mickey 17 reflects on how much has changed. The war never happened, and peaceful communication between humans and the native creatures has begun. Despite this success, he is haunted by strange, vivid visions of Marshall and his wife returning from the dead. As the meeting concludes, the crew gathers around Mickey 17, expressing their gratitude for everything he has done. Peace has been secured for now.